My parents carved obedience into my skin with scripture and silence. I wasn't allowed friends, phones, or even closed doors. The basement was where sinners repented, and I'd only heard the screams when I turned 17 and confessed to kissing Micah Carson behind the church. They told me I was possessed. The next day, I woke up chained beside a Bible in a bucket. My mother's voice echoed, "You'll thank us when the devil is gone." I began counting days and scratches on stone. Weeks later, the nausea started. They screamed when I told them. "The demon see," my father hissed, his hand trembling with rage. I begged for a doctor, but they sealed the basement tighter. The only voice I heard was my own, whispering to the baby I hadn't seen. One night, I found a rusted spoon and carved a tiny cross into the wall. My defiance, the moment I felt the baby kick, I stopped praying for rescue. I started planning. Even in darkness, I wouldn't go quietly. I faked seizures for 3 days straight, slamming my head until blood pooled. Miriam panicked and opened the door. I lunged only to find Gerald waiting. Belt in hand, "Lies won't save you," he spat. My cheek throbbed, my mind spun. In the distance, I saw Nina, the midwife, step out of a parked car. Hope flared until Gerald smiled and shut the door. "She works for us now." The next day, Gerald dragged me upstairs for purification. I saw the bathtub filled, candles lit, Bible open. Miriam wept. "We must cleanse the womb." I screamed, kicking wildly. Please, my stomach clenched. The baby twisted, then a sharp slap. Blood smeared the tiles. Suddenly, Nina burst through the door. She's bleeding out. Gerald lunged, but she shoved him back. "Touch her again, and I swear, you'll never see daylight." Nina tended my bruises, whispering she was undercover with legal aid. I sobbed when she pressed a phone into my hand. "Dial 911 now." My hands shook. But I did it. Then the lights cut out. Gerald roared downstairs. "She's corrupted you too." We barricaded the door with furniture. I cradled my stomach, whispering, "Just hold on." When sirens pierced the silence, I nearly collapsed in relief. Police stormed the house. Gerald screamed scripture as they cuffed him. Miriam collapsed in prayer. In the ambulance, Nina clutched my hand. "You saved yourself," she said. The officer beside me whispered, "We found diaries funds sent to extremist groups." My breath caught. The basement wasn't just punishment, it was indoctrination. My baby kicked again. For the first time, I smiled. I had escaped more than a room. I'd escaped a cult. With trembling hands, I signed the paperwork for witness protection. Gerald faced federal charges. Miriam was institutionalized. Nina visited weekly during my recovery. My daughter was born in spring, tiny, fierce, free. I named her Hope. The courts granted me full custody. When she grasped my finger, I wept. She would never know chains. Now, in a quiet town with mountains on every side, I work at a women's shelter. I tell my story to help others leave. Sometimes I still wake up gasping, but when I see Hope's smile, hear her laugh, I breathe. She's my proof, not just that I survived, but that I was right to fight. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to check out more stories on my channel.